So, let's start this video with a few questions to introduce the topic. What's your sexuality? Well, you could say I identify as a bisexual. Are you out to your parents? I am, but let's just say they're not really tolerant. Have you been bullied? In general, yeah. Not because of my sexuality, and that's because I was never really out. Like, I was never really vocal about my sexuality. Just because, I don't know, like, I lived in a small town the majority of my life, and I just didn't want to get bullied for that because most of the people around me were just a bit stupid and intolerant, so why would I do that to myself? And that's why I was so glad to move to a bigger city where no one knew me. So, yeah. How old were you when you realized you weren't straight? I think I must have been 14 or something. It's funny because I was always kind of attracted to women. And when I was 14, someone just assumed that I liked girls too, because I don't know why they assumed that. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You're right. And it was kind of funny because I never thought that myself before, and they blew my mind with that. And since then I knew. Like, I didn't actually know, but you know how it is. It's just a process. And yeah, that's just how it all started. Okay, cool. Now some more general questions about bisexuality. Which gender do you prefer? Like, it's not the same for everyone. It's not a 50-50 split. For me, it's that I'm generally more attracted to girls, but sometimes I might have a crush on a guy, and I can't really explain that well, but I just know that it's different for everyone. Not all bisexuals are a 50-50 split in their preference. Maybe it's you like 95% guys and 5% girls, but you're still bisexual. Are you non-monogamous? No. Just because I'm a bisexual, it doesn't mean that I want to be with more than one person, because that's polyamory. If you're with a guy/girl, doesn't that mean you are straight/gay? No. You don't have to pick a side when you are in a relationship with someone. You can still be a bisexual, but people don't seem to understand that. What is the difference between bisexuality and pansexuality? When you're pansexual, the gender doesn't really matter to you at all. And when it comes to bisexuality, the factor does play a role, and it comes down to your preferences. How do you know you're bisexual? It's just how it is. Like, you just kind of know. Do you feel bad making your partner compete with guys/girls for you? No, because they don't have to compete or anything, because I'm in a relationship with this person right now, and when I'm with someone, I am loyal, but no one has to compete with each other just because I'm bisexual. It's not just because I'm bisexual that I fancy every single person walking Earth. It doesn't work like that. Just because you're straight, you're not running after every single guy you see on the street. Are you sure you're not just confused? About what exactly? Sexuality is fluid. Like, you can change your labels if at one point it doesn't feel right for you. And that's totally fine. There are probably points where you will be confused about what's going on. Once you're sure about what you want to label yourself, and if it happens to be bisexual, then no, you're not confused anymore. The process is kind of confusing, but people most of the time ask that question when they just don't understand what bisexuality or any other sexuality is. Another really annoying question is, can you please stop rubbing your sexuality in our faces? What do we constantly see on TV though? It's heterosexual relationships. And you're pushing that in our faces. So, I mean, you don't question that, so. What is biphobia? Biphobia is prejudice, fear, or hatred directed towards bisexual people. Biphobia occurs both within and outside of the LGBTQ community, which is really, really sad. You would think that the people in the LGBT community would be tolerant and accepting and all of that, but I've experienced it myself. As soon as I labeled myself a bisexual, because prior to that I identified as a lesbian, and as soon as I identified myself as a bisexual, people weren't having me anymore. Like, some lesbians don't seem to like bisexuals at all. They just feel like we betrayed them or something. Like, especially like me, when you identified as a lesbian before, then identify as a bisexual. But I guess people aren't as tolerant as they claim to be in the end, so that's just sad. What are some of the unique issues that bisexual people face? People are often excluded or rendered invisible in the LGBT community. Everyone's just assuming that we're either gay or straight, depending on who we're in a relationship with, which is nonsense. I just think this is really sad, because in this community we should all just support each other, because it's really hard enough. And I hope that in the future people will be more tolerant and just accept that this is normal and you're not weird or anything like that. I mean, love is love, isn't it? But yeah, thank you for listening. And if you're in the LGBT community yourself and want to share your story, then I encourage you to. And also, I'm always here to listen. So if you ever need someone, just know I'm here. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Jesus Christ, that lighting. What the fuck? I am so white.